Good morning and welcome to the Skeinz Diaries. You're with Marie here today on Thursday, 16th of June, episode 168, so I believe. How is everybody today? I know I said I was going to potentially have a big reveal today, which is my Limerick Henley by Mary Ann Benedetto. I've been knitting that away for the last several months in Kelly and Coramore. I can say that I have finished the knitting with the exception of the band, the collar band. And it is, and the reason I don't have it to show you is because, of course, I've been doing the blocking, and the blocking has only just got dry enough um, to start the stitching. And then, of course, I started doing the stitching last night, and it just in the dark, it's a sort of a thing that I really do need to do during the day. So that it's done, and well, the pieces look fantastic. Laid them up against the back of the husband, and the sizing looks good. Started the stitching, and I'll show you this because you will get to see it next week. There is actually an exposed seam on the raglan, so I'm actually working on that exposed seam at the moment, and actually seeing where, and she has actually left a really interesting place for me to be able to stitch that, so I'm really excited about that. So there's two selvage stitches, a knit and a purl stitch, and they have gone and created sort of a little curl and a lip, and these two exposed stitches sit across the top of the raglan, sort of like that as a pair, and my mattress stitching actually, it's really easy to see just under that selvage stitch. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. So it looks great. So I'm hoping to be able to get some time to do that this afternoon. What's hamstringing me is the time, the sort of little half an hour that I burgle, or an hour that I burgle here and there to do a little bit of knitting of an afternoon, has been taken up because number one son has got culinary competitions this weekend. So I have been sort of helping supervise and make sure that, disasters do not go awry on afoot in the kitchen with him getting prepared for that. So that has chewed up a bit of knitting time. But that's all right. That's all right. I definitely know I'm going to get some knitting time this weekend because I am itching, absolutely itching to get this project finished and off the needles and completely done. And then I will be moving to the shoji which is from Nora Gone, which is the big cocoon cardigan, which has been it's been hibernating for many months, for nearly a year actually. It's been hibernating, but I am wanting to get that back and done and completely finished. So that's my next sort of project, and then I will feel happy about diving into something new. What that something new is yet, I don't know. I haven't decided, but that's where I'm at. So today, I thought I would talk about something that is happening this weekend. And good morning, everyone. So good to see everyone here. And the Americans are in the house, which is awesome. And if you are followers of Breakfast Bourbon and The Hangover with Outlaw Yarns and Outlaw HQ, you will know that this weekend is Wool Feast in Auckland, Wool Feast in Christchurch. Huge weekend down there, wonderful festival. It's going to be amazing. And they are using that weekend to launch Gothic. Yes, it is Gothic time of year. In fact, last year Gothic was in July. They've got Gothic in June this year. So you'll get your Gothic fix a little bit earlier. What is Gothic? Well, Gothic, this is the normal outlaw bohemia that we love, which is their flagship yarn, alpaca, polworth, and possum. Absolute favourite. We all love it completely. What Gothic is they take the alpaca content in this yarn from cream alpaca and they switch it out with coloured alpaca, generally a black or a brown black alpaca, which produces this really dark, mysterious base yarn. And so you get all the bohemia lushness and goodness, but in a darker shade. Now, I can't tell you what the shades are, but I've got one. This is one of last year's shades. Many of you have got this in stash. So this is sort of the dark look that you get. See that different? You can see the grain in there. There you go. So I don't know whether this colour's coming back this year or not. Couldn't tell you. This one was Lewis. This was she did this a couple of years ago, last year and the year before, or it might have been the year before and the year before that. But anyway, I've kept this one because I'm very fond of this. And this is my library ball of Gothic. So this is the one that I've got. So don't get your hopes up if you like this one because it may not be coming back. It's a big secret. You will have to see at 11 o'clock on Saturday. So it is going to be widely available, obviously, with the crew at Outlaw at Wool Feast. So if you're going to Wool Feast, no problems. You can pick Gothic up from them. We will also have it too. Here's the one thing that I have to tell you, though, is Gothic has been such a hit this year that they've had to allocate out how much, and we're not having as much Gothic as we've had in previous years, which means we worked it out that we've got about 5 full garment lots per shade. And usually we would have about 8 to 10 garment lots per shade. Okay, so quite a bit less than normal. So you need to make sure that if you are after a garment lot of Gothic, that you need to make sure you get in quick and snap that up. But today I thought I would talk about some ideas about things that you could knit with Gothic and either in its entirety or actually include Gothic as part of something else using regular Bohemia, because a lot of you have already got stuff rolling around in stash at the moment. So really you don't necessarily need a garment lot, but maybe you just need a little bit of a Gothic injection to I hope you can't hear that. That's my tummy going crazy. Yes. So that is what we're going to talk about this morning. So then I decided, all right, if we were to do just Gothic, and Gothic on its own, and again, I can't tell you whether or not this is going to be in the collection or not, because essentially I do know, but I don't know, if you know what I mean. Now, let me get this to the right spot. Here we go. So this is the first one. So this is one we have talked about Hina before. I talked about Hina, in fact, when we had Gothic. We were talking about Gothic before. Hina was originally designed in Gothic. Hina, I talk about it for any Outlaw Bohemia project. Hina is fantastic. It looks great in a lighter shade. It looks great in a Gothic shade. And it's designed specifically, particularly with these slip stitches across the yokes here, to make the most of the bloom and the possum within the yarn. And it's got this beautiful soft rolled ribbed neck as well, because of that lushness with the yarn that is there. Hina is just such a great yarn for any Bohemia DK project. So if you've already got this in your library or in your stash or on your queue, Hina is always perfect. I'm showing you it on this page because we do have this in leaflet form from us. So if you're a person that prefers a leaflet with everything there, you can get Hina as a leaflet with us. But the one person and designer, I thought what I would do is I would go down a little bit of a rabbit hole with a single designer. So I thought to myself, what sort of designs would work? If you were going to add Gothic into a collection, or you're going to do Gothic with something, what would you do? And I think one of the things that you would do is you would look for contrast. So let's just take my, for example, ball here, Mr. Lewis, and back to the parchment that we had. And as you can see, there's obvious contrast there. Now that's just in parchment. This is, and I've gone and picked up 4 balls here, 4 of these standard Bohemias. So I've got parchment, fog, bone, and I want to say dovecote, yeah. And this is our Lewis. Now, I don't know whether Lewis is in the range, but it's irrelevant. It is irrelevant because essentially every single one of these colours, and this is the genius of the Deb, every single one of these colours will go with a Gothic colour guaranteed because these are designed as library colours. She has these as library colours. What is a library color? These are a base color that are designed to pretty much go with anything and anything else. So they are like the blank canvas in your color work or your pattern or pulling your yarn together. But let's stick with parchment, because parchment's, and actually bone's my other favorite too. So let's stick with those two. So you've got one, and this is actually the natural sort of shade is the parchment. Is beautiful. I like the bone. It's just a little bit warmer. It is just the hint of an absolute merest hint of a blush pink. Don't let that put you off, because you can apply this next to a cool shade. You can apply it next to a warm shade. I mean, that's it next to Lewis, and it looks amazing. And you would think, well, you would never put a deep orange yarn next to a very, very pale pink shade, but it works. It is a contrast at anything, and this is going to be about contrast. So who do we know that designs stuff that loves contrast? And this is who. So I've gone and pulled up, oh no, I've gone and jumped over the page. Let me get to the right page. Right, let's jump back here. So what I went and did is, this is a Ravelry search. So I did a Ravelry search, and I thought, Jennifer Steingass does a lot of sweaters, 2 shades or 2 yarns using extreme contrast. So if we're wanting to actually look for a design that'll be suitable for Gothic with a couple of different shades, or within the range that we're at, this is a really good place to start. I had my gold wing on the other day. Now, I put gold wing in this collection. I knitted my gold wing on a 3.75 millimeter needle to a 24 stitch tension, and just did a little bit of jiggery pokery with my measurements. Now, she has actually knitted gold wing using up to a 4 millimeter needle. Blocked, she's managed to pull it out blocked to a 20 stitch tension, but we know that on a 4 millimeter needle, you're going to be getting mostly, depending on the aggression of your blocking, between 22 and 20 stitches. This is completely in Outlaw Bohemia territory. So this is a pattern that we know and love, and this would be great. Absolutely great. And again, what works with this pattern is contrast. The key is contrast. You saw mine. Now, she's gone and done hers here actually in the reverse, where most of her action and deepness is happening in the body, and then she's done the patterning in the pale shade. I had mine reversed. I had all my action and patterning happening in from a yarn perspective in the top, and then had a very, very light neutral in terms of my body. You could do either or here with the Gothic. It would, and with Bohemia, it would not matter at toss. And as you can see, there's variations on a theme. So what I did is I in my Ravelry search, and I'm going to show you, and I have actually in the show notes put a link to this search for you, but this is one of the things that I will do, is I will search for a designer, especially one that I know that has a huge portfolio. Then I will go down to the advanced search tab here, and I've gone and placed in here Sport, DK and Worsted. Why have I done that, Marie, you may ask? I tell you why I've done that is because those are the yarns that she's used, but she bounces around with gauge, but not that much. You saw that she used a worsted weight yarn here for 20 stitches on gold wing, but only used a 4 millimeter needle. We know that you can do that in Bohemia. But then there are other options, and another one, and I think it's this Meadow Moon. Oh, you see Meadow Moon. This is another interesting one. So this one, she used 2 yarns held together to give that sort of soft texture. She only goes up to a 3.75 millimeter needle. That's fine. I mean, if you want to go up to a 4 millimeter, you can, but here is the one thing that we know. She's got a 22 stitch tension, so we know that for most people, you're actually going to be getting that on a 4 millimeter. But what we know from Ethan is Bohemia loves itself a really, really good firm tension, and it creates this lushness in the fabric, which is quite incredible. And when it comes to color work, having that slightly firmer tension and that lushness in the fabric really is quite incredible. So that is something I would certainly consider. Forsythian, this one here is another one, again 3.5, 3.75. She's getting a 22 stitch tension, so we all know that for most of us, that will be a 4mm. What I love about this design, 3 colours here, but it means that you could actually use parchment for a good chunk. If you only want to purchase a ball or 2 of Gothic, you could do that for that bold piece here and actually pick up other bits and pieces that you've got in stash. So there is, some really, really interesting statements. I love this one. This one I chose because of the deep base colour here. Now, again, I don't know what the Gothic colours, well, I keep saying that. I don't know what the Gothic, yes, I do know what the Gothic colours are going to be. And one thing I can guarantee is they're going to be dark. So this is another great design because you can use, it shows you that dark base. So you know that if you've got a dark, deep, rich yarn, then you can select that, and then you can select a yarn like one of these for your contrast and your patterning. And I mean, she's gone and used a yarn that actually changes in shade, but there's no reason why you couldn't use one or both, or even start doing some stripings within your colour work using a mixture of Gothic, a mixture of Bohemia yarns. So that's how I narrowed that search down to give me different options. If you don't feel like knitting a sweater, I loved this. This popped up in the collection. And this Recollect Cowl, I love it for 2 reasons. One, they're all sort of deep, kind of earthy autumnal tones. She's knitted this using a sport weight yarn and a really firm gauge, and a 3.75mm needle. So as we mentioned before, a firmer gauge using Bohemia is actually not a bad thing, and it really does look amazing. And it just holds everything in, and the possum blooms out, and it becomes lush and unctuous and just really quite incredible. What I loved about this one is that it uses 5 shades. So there are going to, I can't guarantee without looking it up, and I'm not going to look it up because then you might see it. But at 5 shades, if there are a number of shades that you absolutely love in Gothic, then you can actually, and you're wanting to pick a ball of each, this is the sort of pattern that you could do. Now, one of the things I would suggest is, you see here that she's got 5 shades. Contrast color 3 has, just make sure, yes, it is showing there. Contrast color 3 has 229 meters. So this is 200 meters per ball. So this means that you would need 2 balls of whatever contrast color 3 is, and then 1 ball of the other colors. My suggestion is you pick contrast color 3 from one of the current existing Bohemia shades in something like this, and you use that as the shade that kind of bridges and pulls back the other shades that are there. And then that creates a contrast within the cowl between light and dark. And quite honestly, I think that this is where Dovecote or Fog would come into their own in this particular pattern, because it doesn't matter what else. What else goes with this? Any Gothic shade will look amazing with this. You may even already have some Gothic from previous years, like me, in stash, and then you think, right, that looks pretty fantastic. I need another couple of shades to add to this to complete the combination. So if you're looking for ideas for Gothic and you want to get yourself prepared, have a look at these patterns. And the reason why I say this is because then you can get all your meterages sorted out. So when you go to place your order, you know how much you're actually buying, which I think is really, really important. So then the other design, and I'm just going to put this up here, that I wanted to show you. Yeah, that search. And I wanted to show you this because, again, oh, look at that. That's not, why did that not? You know what I'm looking for. Here it is, the bubble cowl. That's why I couldn't find it. This, the bubble cowl from Stephen West, more than a few years ago. The reason why I wanted to show you this design two reasons I wanted to show you this design. One is I happen to have, and I'm going to change this so you can see it better. I happen to have this masterpiece right here. Haha! This is Kathy Hunt's. Kathy has loaned this to us. Is this not the most spectacular thing you've ever seen? Oh, Kathy, it is amazing. She's so funny. Kathy's saying here, she's here, and Kathy's saying, I'm still hoarding some Gothic Jekyll from a few years ago. You just love that green. I know, I love that green too. In fact, funny you should mention that. That's from the very original one. Look, this pool swatch has been so poorly treated. I actually dug it out. I keep thinking, I know I've got a swatch of this somewhere, and here it is. Again, I don't know whether, well, I do know, but I don't know whether or not that's going to be a colour. You'll just have to wait and see, won't you? But Kathy, bless her heart, has this. This is all knitted in Bohemia, all of it. This is like the sampler of every, I almost feel like, Kathy, this is the sampler of every Bohemia yarn that has ever been made. You've even got some Muse colours in here. That's Muse, that one there is Muse, that one there is Muse. I love it. But there's also some Gothics in there. There's a Gothic there, there's a Gothic there, there's a Gothic there. There's another one up here. There it is, up there. So it just shows you how you can actually integrate Gothic with other Bohemia yarns that you've already got. This is a great pattern. And it's a great pattern too, because let's jump into the details that Mr. West has. What is great about this pattern is he's got two versions. Here's his other version here. And this is, I think he calls this his, I think this is the 6 colour version, or the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, this is the 6 colour version. And then the other one, this is just like a random colour version. What I loved about the 6 colour version is he literally says the 6 colour version. Where is it? Here we go. If you're knitting a 6 colour sample of the hooded cowl style, you'll need approximately 118 metres or a bit less of each colour. Now that's really good to know, because that means a single ball, you're good with a single ball. So if you've got 6 balls of Gothic, or 6 balls of Bohemia, or you've got some leftovers you've been working, and I'm assuming that this is where you've been at, Kathy. You've had a ton of leftovers and you've been using this up. Oh, hold on, mine was done. Oh yeah, there we go. See, she's psychic, Kathy. I've also got the parallelogram blanket she's talking about. So she's saying hers was done with the leftovers from the parallelogram blanket, which is out in the shop, wrapped over a fixture, so I haven't dragged that in here. And that's just it. I mean, you can actually create another project with it. And that's why I wanted to grab this, because I know when I talked about the knits a month or so ago, a lot of people had stuff from leftover, and they were like, look, these bigger projects are great, but what about the smaller projects if I'm only wanting to get, or only need to get a few balls, or I have already got stuff in stash and I just want to get the last of the collection? And I knew this, as soon as I thought, this is perfect. And it doesn't always, if you haven't always got Bohemia either, the other yarns that work really well with this is Cove. So if you've got any of the Cove yarns, you can actually mix and match a little bit with the Cove. They're lovely and squishy and soft. Or Chatswood. I find Chatswood works really well too. There's a nice squish factor. Doesn't have the super bloom that the Bohemia has, but if you're looking just to inject a little bit of colour or have something different, and you have got some stash sitting at home, that's what I would suggest that you would use. So definitely have a look at that. Stephen, if you're looking for really anything to make up and paint and brick off and do all the different bits and pieces, have a look at West Knits on Ravelry, or Westknit, I think it's westknits.com. And Stephen has all of those. He's got a number of designs. He's gotten quite good at now with influence, actually, I have to say, from a certain person from Outlaw HQ, take some responsibility for this, to get Stephen to, when he does his bigger designs or collections, to also create projects like these cowls, like I think some of the hats and smaller designs, to use over all these leftovers, because a lot of these designs are designed for 100-gram skeins or balls, you're ultimately going to be left with some yarn left over, and these designs are perfect because it means that you can do something incredible and fun and unctuous using what you have left. So definitely have check that out. What else did I? Was there another design that I had? Oh yes, there is one more design I wanted to show you. So the last design I wanted to show you was this. And again, I'm showing you this because I know for a fact that many of you will have this already in queue. We also have this available for sale. And that is, I almost wore this today. And I should have actually, I completely forgot. And that is oatmeal. Now this was knitted originally, and this is from Libby. So let's jump into here. There we go. This was knitted originally in our heritage alpaca that we had a number of years ago. And I think I talked about this just recently, talking about Bohemia as well. I think Bohemia is a fantastic, this is, if you're wanting a simple, plain design, this design is fabulous. I've actually just blocked my 2 oatmeals this last week. It's just such a wonderful design if you've got a really beautiful yarn that you just want to love. This design with Bohemia, I think, is a match made in heaven. I mean, the one worn there in parchment would be amazing, but this would go with any Bohemia yarn really well. So if you've had this yarn, this pattern rather, floating around in your stash, I think that this is another good one for you to sort of add into the queue. If you're looking and you're wanting to do a garment with Bohemia or Gothic, this is another good one you can actually throw in there. It is so wearable. It is so wearable. It is comfortable. I have 2 of them. I've got one actually in the same yarn that she designed this in the heritage alpaca. I've got a second one actually in vintage DK. And I just love it, and I thresh it. So I know some people are quite concerned about that really deep V in the neck. Some people don't like that. If you want a firmer V, that is really easy to do. All you have to do is just essentially keep knitting. She's got a little decrease just here, see, just in this portion here. So it is actually quite straightforward to be, because this is, just so you're aware, this isn't knitted top down, this one is actually knitted bottom up, but it is all in one piece. So when you go to knit this portion here, and you get onto this neckline, you can actually just keep going, and you can double this ridge, which will then take that back to sort of pretty much a normal V-neck. I personally don't mind the deep V at all. I've been doing it. I mean, I've got both of mine, but if you do want to do that, that's relatively straightforward to do. So that is the other pattern that I thought would be fabulous. So get yourself organized. And the reason, if you're coming in late, the reason why I'm saying get yourself organized is that I was talking to Ethan about this day before yesterday. What's today? Thursday. What was yesterday? Wednesday. I was talking to him about it. Yeah, yesterday. Just getting Tuesday, getting everything organized for Gothic. And he reiterated actually to get yourself together. We will go live on Saturday from 11 o'clock. If you are local, it's not going to be in the shop. I do need to let you know that. And the reason for that is we have so little of it that we do not, you know what our system is like when so many people are in, and we don't want to oversell. And often where we fall into strife is when the shop is open. So what I guarantee is if you want to get Gothic and you're local, jump online and actually order it online for pickup in store, and then you can pick it up later on next week. That is definitely my recommendation. Oh, Kathy, look at you. Kathy, bless her heart. Ethan, I did pop together Gothic bundle ideas. She's just gone and popped those in the chat for you, so do check those out. So that is what I have to say. If you are local, you will need to purchase it online. You can't come in the store and grab it. It's not even going to, because it will be gone on Saturday. I can tell you that right now with the volumes that we've got of all the shades. So do check your projects. I really just can't emphasize this enough. Check your projects, check how much you think you might need, what you've already got in stash too. You don't need it. I mean, I'm talking about we've got X number of garment lots, but you may not need a garment lot. You may just decide, oh, I just love the colors and I want one of everything and I'd love to make something like this. Perfect. Or it might be that you've already got stuff in stash. You might already have a color from a previous year. You might already have some standard library shades of Bohemia. So have a look at what you've already got. Have a look at the designs that you've already got, and then calculate out how much that you need. Because when you're going to be placing your order, you need to make sure that you are accurate, because coming back to us the following week saying, oh, have you got another ball of, is likely to result in a no, we don't. Ethan, and I mean, because they're launching at show down at Outlaw, chances are that they'll sell out super fast as well. So it is going to be one of those. I know last year I think we sold all colours out bar one or two on the opening day. So it'll be fun. It'll be loads and loads and loads of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Right, I'm going to get going. Hopefully you have a fantastic weekend. I'm planning, as I said, to get that sweater finished. I can't wait. So that is the big plan for us, is to get that sweater finished this weekend. So much to happen between, oh gosh, I was just talking to the girls before. We've got so many things, so many new yarns. We've got new yarns coming. We've got fun. There we go. Kathy's saying 48 minutes for the first shade to sell out last year. Yeah, exactly. It was so fast. So do stay tuned. There is so much fun stuff that we've got coming between now and Knit August Nights, which of course is the end of August. Speaking of Knit August Nights, I'm going to be getting on and hopefully sending out we catch up with everybody on that tomorrow from home. However, we have had a couple of late cancellations. So do jump over if you are onto the registration page. There are a few classes that have got single spaces left in them, just a little handful. So check those out if you've been sitting on the fence about coming. All right, I'm going to get going and get some work done. Hopefully you have a great weekend. I'm going to have a great weekend. I will see you again here on Monday. Until then, take care.